Hi, I'm Tracey West. I'm the author of the Dragon Master series, and today we're going to continue reading Dragon Masters 14, Land of the Spring Dragon. We've already read up to chapter 9, and in this book, Drake and Worm go to the Land of the Spring Dragon to ask for her help, and they meet Breen, the Dragon Master, and Breen says only Drake and not Worm must go inside the fairy world where Drake will search for the spring dragon and he has to undergo some tests to see if he is worthy of getting the help of the spring dragon. The last place we saw them, Drake and Breen were walking through some spooky woods and Breen disappeared. Drake found himself all alone and surrounded by some tree fairies. And that's where we're going to start off by reading chapter 10, which is called The Riddle. The tiny fairies closed in around Drake. "Who has entered our forest?" one of the creatures asked. "My name is Drake," Drake replied. "My name is Kiora, and we are the wood sprites," the fairy said. "What are you doing here?" "I am on my way to see the spring dragon," Drake explained. "I need her help. Her dragon master Breen brought me here, but Breen just disappeared. Can you help me find her?" The wood sprites grouped together and talked in low voices. Then Kiora flew in front of Drake's face. "We can help you," she said, "but first you must pass a test." "There sure are a lot of tests in the fairy world," Drake mumbled. Kiora put her hands on her hips. "We can go away, you know. Do you want to find the dragon master or not?" "Yes, I do," Drake said quickly. "What is the test?" "You must find a flower in the forest and bring it to us," Kiora answered. "Any flower?" he asked. Kiora shook her head. "No, one special flower. Listen." The wood sprites began to chant at once. "Find a flower the color of the sky, with a cherry for an eye. It has more petals than the legs of a horse, but fewer than a spider's legs, of course." There's Drake and Kiora. Drake tried to remember all the clues. Color of the sky, cherry for an eye, more than 4 petals, fewer than 8 petals. "I'll find it," Drake promised. Drake jogged through the forest, followed by Kiora. He looked around for flowers, but he couldn't imagine finding any in this dark, spooky place. "Flowers need sunlight to grow," Drake thought. "I need to find a brighter area in this forest." Soon he came to a clearing in the woods where colorful flowers bloomed. Drake ran to a patch of blue flowers and knelt down. "Color of the sky," he said, "and look, they have bright red centers, just like cherries. These must be the flowers in the riddle. Now I just have to count the petals." "1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he counted to himself. "This is it. 6 is more than 4 and less than 8. That was easy." "But that is not the right flower," Kiora said. Drake frowned. "But it has a red center like a cherry. 6 petals. And it's blue, the color of the sky." "Is it?" Kiora asked. "Of course, the sky is—" Drake started to say, but then he looked up to see the pink sky overhead. "Oh, I forgot," Drake said. "The sky in the fairy world is pink, not blue." Kiora giggled. "Very good. Keep looking." Drake searched and searched until he found some pink flowers. They had red centers. He counted the petals. 4 petals, that's not enough, he said, frowning. He counted the petals on another pink flower. 9 petals, too many. He counted the petals on flower after flower. Finally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he called out. He plucked the flower from the ground and held it up to Kiora. "Is this it?" "It is," the fairy replied. "And now we will help you find the Dragon Master." Kiora sprinkled glittery dust on the flower. It flew out of Drake's hand and planted itself back in the ground. Then it began to grow and grow and grow. The flower grew bigger than Drake. "Whoa!" Drake exclaimed. Then the flower stem bent toward Drake. The petals surrounded him, and the flower swallowed him up. "Good luck finding your friend," Kiora Kiora called out. Wow, that's a big flower. Chapter 11 is called Captured. Drake tumbled down inside the enormous green tube of the flower stem. It spat him out on the dirt. Drake stood up and looked around. He was underground. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he heard a voice. "Drake, over here!" Drake ran toward the voice and discovered Breen behind metal bars trapped in a cave. "Breen, I'm so glad I found you," he yelled. He grabbed the bars and gave them a tug. They didn't budge. "What happened? Who put you in here?" "It's terrible," Breen answered. "An evil ogre scooped me up and brought me here. He's coming back to eat me." "An ogre?" Drake asked. "You mean like a big, mean giant?" Breen nodded. "Can you get me out of here, Drake?" Drake studied the cave. He wouldn't be able to bend the thick metal bars. He did not see a way out. "What can I do?" he wondered. Suddenly, the ground his feet began to shake. "The ogre is coming back!" Breen yelled. "Fee, fi, fo, fum! I need food in my tum-tum," the ogre chanted. Drake turned to see an enormous creature with a big belly stomping toward them. "Run, Drake! Save yourself!" Breen shouted. "If you get eaten, you'll never save your land. Go now!" Breen's right. If I don't leave now, I may never find Fallen, Drake thought. But I can't leave her here to get eaten. He threw his body in front of the cave. The ogre roared as he thumped toward Drake. "Arg!" And there's Drake protecting Breen. Chapter 12 is called The Spring Dragon. "I can't let the ogre hurt you, Breen," Drake yelled. He bravely faced the ogre. "If you want Breen, you'll have to go through me," he called out. The ogre stomped up to Drake. Drake could feel the monster's hot breath on his face. "Stay back," Drake warned, balling his hands into fists. The ogre ignored Drake. He moved past him and pulled apart the bars on the cave with his strong arms. Breen calmly stepped through the opening. "Thanks, Blorp," Breen said. "Did I do a good pretending job?" Blorp asked. Breen nodded. "The best." Drake stared at them. "You mean he's not dangerous?" Drake asked Breen. "Blorp? Nah, he's a softy," Breen said. She waved to the ogre. "See you later." The ogre marched off. "That was another trick," Drake asked, but he wasn't angry with Breen. A wave of relief washed over him. "Another test, and you passed," Breen said. "You stayed to protect me when you could have run away to save yourself. Now Fallen knows you can be trusted." Drake's heart was still pounding. That was a pretty scary test. "Fallen has to be careful, Drake," Breen said. "There are greedy people in the world, people who would steal her and use her powers just for themselves. That is why she lives in secret, and why she will only help those who are worthy." "So does that mean I get to see Fallen now?" Drake asked. Breen grinned. "Follow me." She led him out of the cave. Breen led Drake into a bright meadow. A beautiful green dragon sat on a hill covered with flowers. Her wings looked like big leaves, and tiny leaves sprouted from her body. "Fallen, we made it," Breen said. Her dragon stone began to glow. Breen smiled. "Fallen says that you have been very brave and smart, Drake," she said. "She will help you." "Thank you, Fallen," Drake said. "Can we go see my dragon worm? He can take us to Bracken right away." Breen climbed onto Fallen's back. "Come on, Drake," she said, helping him up. And there is the spring dragon, and you can see on the cover what a beautiful green color Fallen is. The spring dragon flapped her wings and flew into the air. They soared over the forests and meadows. Finally, Fallen landed, and Breen and Drake climbed off her back. They walked through the same tunnel as before until they came to a dirt wall. Fallen glowed and a hole opened up. They stepped back into Inishbamba. Here is Fallen flying through the air. Worm was waiting for them. I knew you would find Fallen, he told Drake. Good job. Thanks, Worm, Drake said. He held out his hand to Breen. Touch Fallen, and then I'll touch Worm, he instructed. Once we're all connected, we can transport. I've never been outside Inishbanda before, Breen said. This is exciting. She grabbed Drake's hand and put one hand on her dragon. Then Worm transported them all to Bracken in a flash of green light. And that is the end of chapter 12. Tomorrow I will be finishing up chapters 13, 14, and 15, and we will see more about what the spring dragon's powers are. Thanks, and have a great day.